There is a smile in football that belongs to nobody else. Not a polite smile. Not a polite smile. The kind of smile that appears in the middle of a World Cup match with 80,000 people watching, with a career in a nation and 40 years of Brazilian football expectation all balanced on 90 minutes, and still, somehow the man wearing the number 10 is smiling. Like it's the greatest fun he's ever had. Like football is still the game he played barefoot in the streets of Porto Alegre as a boy. That smile. That man. The 2026 World Cup. What actually happens? I'm going to tell you. But first, I need you to understand something that most people get completely wrong about Ronaldinho. Because if you don't understand this one thing, the rest of the story won't make sense. Ronaldinho was not the best player in the world because he was technically gifted. There have been technically gifted players in every generation. He was the best player in the world because he played football in a state of complete joy. And that joy was contagious in a way that tactical systems have no answer for. When Ronaldinho was happy, the 11 players around him became better than they were. Not marginally better, fundamentally different, transformed, and here's what that means for the 2026 World Cup. Here's what nobody discusses when they imagine this scenario. Because it isn't about what Ronaldinho does with the ball. It's about what he does to everyone around him when he has it. And that specific thing is the most dangerous force in this alternate timeline. The year is 2026. The World Cup is 6 weeks away. Brazil's squad list is published, and among the names, one sits there so quietly that it takes 20 minutes before the internet notices it. Ronaldinho, 26 years old, 2006 Ballon d'Or vintage, prime. The reaction is not immediate celebration. The reaction is confusion, because the modern Brazil squad is already extremely good. Organized, well-drilled, genuinely dangerous. They press, they transition, they rotate. They have a clear tactical identity built over 3 years, and now someone has placed a player in that structure who has never in his entire career operated within a structure. Ronaldinho doesn't press. He doesn't track back on schedule. He doesn't rotate predictably. He plays by instinct, by feel, by the game as it presents itself in real time rather than as the tactical plan anticipated it. For the first 7 days of pre-term and camp, this is the exact problem. The Brazilian manager watches training and sees the same thing breaking down repeatedly, at the exact point where Ronaldinho receives the ball and makes a decision that nobody else on the pitch anticipated. Not a bad decision, a spectacular one that works, but his teammates arrive at the wrong time, 3 steps behind where the sequence already is. He is playing the game that exists in his imagination. They are playing the game they rehearsed. The manager realizes this is not a problem he can solve with more training. It is a problem that solves itself. By day 11, something begins to happen that he has never seen in 20 years of coaching. The players stop running the pre-planned routes. Not all of them, not all the time, but in the moment when Ronaldinho has the ball, the players with the highest football intelligence begin to scan forward rather than follow their designated movement. They watch him instead of their position. They read him instead of running the pattern. The chances being created are extraordinary. Nobody told them to do this. It evolved organically because Ronaldinho's football is so visually expressive. Every touch communicates intent. Every shift of weight is a signal that the best players around him start to learn his language unconsciously. But here is what the manager keeps to himself until after the tournament. It works both ways. Ronaldinho watches the modern Brazil squad, their intensity, their pressing hunger, their athletic conditioning, and begins to understand something that will change how he plays. He realizes the modern game moves 2 phases faster than the game he grew up in. So he adapts, not in style, never in style, but in tempo. He touches it quicker. He processes earlier. He makes the same improvised genius but compressed into smaller windows of time. A smarter Ronaldinho. The most terrifying version of Ronaldinho that has ever existed. Group stage. Brazil versus a European side. The opposition manager has prepared a detailed pressing structure, a man-oriented trigger the moment Ronaldinho receives the ball, cutting off his ability to turn and face forward. It works for 23 minutes. Then Ronaldinho receives the ball, the press fires 2 midfielders close, and he does something the press model did not account for. He looks at the pressing midfielder coming toward him and smiles, a genuine one. The smile of a man who finds this kind of problem interesting rather than threatening. In the half-second it follows, the half-second in which the midfielder processes the smile, experiences a moment of psychological hesitation, adjusts his approach by 3 degrees. Ronaldinho is gone. The ball is through. Goal. The half-second disruption caused by a smile. Nobody prepared for that in any tactical briefing. Brazil win all 3 group matches, 14 goals, 3 conceded. And the football conversation shifts from, can Ronaldinho fit the modern game, to something far more interesting. Something nobody wants to say out loud because it sounds impossible. The modern game has made Ronaldinho better. The pace of it, the intensity of it, the pressing culture that was supposed to neutralize him. It compressed his decision-making and removed any excess, leaving only the pure creative core. Faster to the decision, more accurate with the delivery, and still, completely inexplicably, smiling. But here's what won't become clear until the quarterfinal. The smile is not always real. Round of 16, a South American side with extraordinary physical intensity. Their plan for Ronaldinho is simple, because simple plans are the hardest to improvise around. They foul him. Every time he receives the ball before he has time to process, a body arrives, consistently, legally, disruptively enough. For 39 minutes, Brazil cannot find their game. In the 40th minute, Ronaldinho is fouled for the 12th time. He goes down. He stays down for 3 seconds longer than at any point in the tournament. He stands, rolls his left ankle, gestures to the bench. Fine, but the smile is not there. And across 132 countries, everyone leans forward, because nobody is sure they have ever seen Ronaldinho not smiling in a match. He places the ball 25 yards from goal for the free kick, looks at the wall, looks at the goalkeeper. He scores the most perfect free kick of the tournament. Top right, absolute precision. A bend that starts outside the right post and finishes inside the left edge of the net. He turns, looks at his bench, looks at the crowd, looks at the sky. He smiles. But this one is different, not joy. Something older. The smile of a man who has just reminded himself what he is capable of when the game stops being fun and becomes something he has to fight for. Brazil win 2-1. And here is the moment the tournament changed. Here is the turning point nobody recognized while it was happening. Ronaldinho, for the first time in this World Cup, is angry at himself. For those 39 minutes when the disruption worked. For those 39 minutes when he played within the problem rather than above it. In the tunnel after the match, he resolves it will not happen again. He is right. Quarterfinals, semifinals. Brazil play football that analysts will spend the next decade documenting. The language is now fully fluent on both sides. Ronaldinho reading his teammates as clearly as they read him. What emerges is something the 2026 World Cup was not built to contain. Brazil don't just win the games, they change the tempo of them. They drag opponents into a rhythm that feels organic and joyful and expressive, and is in fact extraordinarily strategic underneath the apparent improvisation. The joy is the trap. Nobody prepares for joy. You can prepare for speed, technical quality, tactical intelligence. You cannot prepare for a player who makes the game look like the greatest possible thing to be doing. Final. Brazil versus Argentina. Both nations alternate timelines colliding in one match. The scale of what is happening is not lost on anyone watching. The match is extraordinary. Argentina urgent and brilliant. Brazil fluid and joyful. The Brazilian structure has become something genuinely new over the course of the tournament. Modern pressing intensity wearing a creative soul. 71st minute. Ronaldinho receives the ball 30 yards from goal. 3 defenders between him and the net. He controls, looks up, and sees not a space but a sequence. He plays right, runs left, receives back in a completely unexpected position. In the corridor he has just created, the Argentine defensive line has a 5-meter gap. He doesn't shoot, he plays it into that gap for a teammate who finishes. Goal. Brazil 2-1. The stadium goes quiet first. 80,000 people needed a half-second to confirm what they just saw, then erupted. Brazil hold on. The final whistle comes. Ronaldinho stands at the center of the pitch. He throws his head back and laughs. Full body, arms wide, eyes closed. The laugh of a man who has played the greatest game of his alternate life and enjoyed every single second of it. His teammates reach him. They pile on. He disappears under them. When he emerges, his face is exactly what it has been since the first day of the tournament. He is smiling. The football world spent years trying to understand him as a player. breaking down his touches, cataloging his techniques, studying his positioning, all of it thorough, all of it missing the fundamental thing. Ronaldinho didn't win football, he made football happier. And in 2026, in a tournament played harder and faster and more intensely than any that came before it, that turned out to be the most valuable thing in the sport. Not tactics, not conditioning, not pressing systems or transition triggers or data models. Joy. It was always joy.